stage one of 5 stages to becoming job ready. Going from stage one, which is tutorials and which routes to choose, all the way up to stage 5, where we're ready to start applying for those positions. Now, the first stage, tutorials. In the first 6 to 12 months, you will find that the majority of juniors or career switchers that are trying to work their way into tech will waste so much time on the wrong tutorials, or they will waste so much time on too many tutorials, which leads me on to the first point, tutorial hell. Now, tutorial hell is a term that in the tech industry, you will hear quite a lot. You will see many people talking about this subject. And it's essentially where people keep doing tutorials over and over and over again. They jump from one tutorial to the next. And that seems from the outside like a great thing to do because you're just learning all these different aspects. But honestly, it is such a career killer. Once you've done a tutorial, you need to then move on as quick as possible so you don't get stuck in this loop. Now, how do you know when someone's stuck in a tutorial hell? And it's quite obvious. Tutorial hell normally works like this. You'll choose a path that you want to go into. It could be front end, back end, data, doesn't matter which one. You'll find a tutorial. And the thing is with tutorials, you're being guided the whole way through. We've all been on a tutorial. We've all taken one. Someone is holding your hand throughout the whole process. So you're being guided. You feel comfortable. You're not doing it alone. Doesn't matter how long this tutorial takes. It could be weeks, months, even a year, whatever you decide you're doing. But what happens is when you finish that tutorial, you have a sense of achievement and it feels fantastic. You've done it. You've completed this tutorial. Yeah, this is it, the first step. And then you're in this place called no man's land, where you've got no guidance. You finished this tutorial. There's no one holding your hand on this part. And you're in this loop where you're looking around for answers thinking, what's the next stage? What do I do from this moment on? Now, you normally get a lot of people that spend probably, I'd say, a week or so in this area of unknown, not knowing what the next stage is. What should I do next? And people normally get a bit worried at this point, and that's when they decide to go, I should start another tutorial. And that's where the loop begins. You start seeing that this person or individual is doing a tutorial after tutorial because after they finish one, they don't know what to do next. There's no guidance. They feel alone. They feel left in the lurch. And that's when they end up doing another tutorial. Now, ideally, what you need to do is finish a tutorial and move on straight away to applying those skills to a personal project or even a follow-along project. It doesn't matter, but you need to then take the skills you've learned and apply them somewhere else, away from a tutorial setting. Once you do that, and it will be a daunting first step, let me tell you, but once you do that, you've broken the loop. You start applying, breaking, fixing, and it just goes on and on like that. If you wanted to bounce to another tutorial because it's a different language, or maybe it's a framework of the language you've done a tutorial for, fine. But again, after you've done that one, you need to move on pretty swiftly to break this loop. You don't want to be stuck in tutorial hell. Let me tell you, you'll waste so much time and you'll regret it. It then comes down to choosing the path you want to go down. Another area where people get stuck and they split off into many different paths, and the trouble is you stretch yourself too thin. And that again can be quite time wasting because you're trying to apply your knowledge and skills all across the board and there's too much going on at once. Now, it can be difficult choosing the path in tech because there are many, many routes you can go. But let me try and break it down for you and sort of help you guide you through which one maybe you should probably go with. Now, if you're more of a visual person, you like the visuals of a website or anything like that, then of course, front end is probably the place to start. It's probably the best place to go. If you're someone that's quite keen on the idea of, oh, well, how has that button taken me from this page to that page? How have I relogged into a website and it knows my details? It knows that's who I am. That's probably back end. That's probably the area you want to move into. If you're someone that loves data, spreadsheets, manipulating data, then of course the data route is for you. So with that in mind, we then have to decide what tutorials to do. There are many resources out there, far too much. And this confuses a lot of people because with all this information out there, which one's correct? Which resource do I go with? Now, let me tell you, do not get hung up on this. Do not waste time trying to find the perfect tutorial. If you know what route you want to go, find a tutorial and start it. Basically, all these tutorials and resources that are out there will teach you the same things. You will have the same knowledge from all of these tutorials you do. They will be taught in different ways, but the knowledge you come out with is practically the same. So don't spend too much time trying to find the perfect tutorial. So for me, I did a data course just recently, SQL. So DataCamp was a brilliant place to do that. That's a great website. There's so much on there you can do in terms of moving into the data role. I would definitely check it out. Second resource is freeCodeCamp. It's fantastic. It has got everything on there you could possibly ask for if you're trying to move into a tech role. It's a brilliant, brilliant resource. So definitely one to check out. Thirdly, and it may seem really, really wild because we all know it's there, YouTube. There are some fantastic YouTube content creators out there that will provide you with all of the knowledge you need, and it's free. Again, don't waste too much time trying to find the perfect person. Aim for the bigger channels maybe, because of course, if they've got such a big following, then their courses must be good. But don't waste too much time. Just pick one and crack on. For me, I found that paying for the course was the best option. Because by paying, I knew I would commit to it. If I'm spending my money on a course, I'm going to commit and I'm going to get that course done. So that was the way I sort of worked around picking my course and the right tutorial for me. The last thing that you need to be aware of on this stage is that by no means should you ever be comparing yourself to others. Everybody has a different timescale, and everybody has different amounts of time they can put into learning. And of course, what you have to remember is many of us learn in different ways. Some of us, it just clicks straight away, where, like me, for example, it took a while for a lot of this information to sink in. And just because you see other people performing well and they're really getting on with their course, they may have finished it 2 months earlier than you did. That doesn't matter. We are all on our own unique journey. And it's a daunting process. Moving into any career change or any industry. Moving into tech is daunting. It is huge. There are so many new softwares and frameworks and platforms and coming out all the time. So do not worry about how long it takes you to get a course or tutorial done. Just spend the time and take your time and make sure you are learning as best as you can. You don't want to be rushing the course because you will not retain any of the information. And that's another thing to remember. And it's a really important thing to remember. Is you will do that tutorial or the course. You will not remember everything you learn in that course unless you've got a super brain. But the majority of us out there will not remember everything we get out of that tutorial. Now, your brain probably would have taken that information in, but when you try and think about it, it just doesn't come to the surface. You can't remember what it's all about. But in stage 2, we'll be going through the next process, which is applying your knowledge to a personal project, open source, whatever it may be, but moving away from the tutorials and moving on to actually applying what we've learned. We've been given the fundamentals. Now let's put them into action and start applying. Now, it's crucial to remember that this is a difficult process for anybody. If you've been in tech for a while, if you're just starting to move into tech, it's seriously difficult. And it will get easier, but it's going to be difficult for quite some time. It takes a lot to retain the information we're learning, which seems like such a short span of time. We have all this information being chucked at us, and we're trying to absorb it as best we can. All you've got to do is stay consistent and just keep showing up.